Tochi had never been to a village wedding before. He was a city boy through and through, born in Enugu, raised in Port Harcourt. His idea of village was small huts, no network, and boring stories told under mango trees. So when his friend Obina invited him to his cousin's traditional wedding in their village, Tochi laughed. Come on, what would I be doing in the village? No girls, no clubs, nothing. And you are asking me to go. But Obina grinned and replied, You see, our village is lively. Plenty of girls, plenty of palm wine, and the kind of wedding that trends on TikTok. Tochi rolled his eyes, but deep down, he was curious. That Friday, they packed their bags and joined a bus heading to Umuzala Obina's village. The journey was long, dusty roads all the way. They arrived at Umuzala by 5:40 p.m. The air felt different, quiet, heavy, peaceful, but almost too peaceful. Tochi stepped down from the bus and stretched. He looked around the village. This place looks like a movie set, he whispered, impressed. Old women were tying white wrappers around food baskets. Kids were running barefoot with balloons. Palm wine drums stood in corners of the compound. A goat bleated lazily under a mango tree. I think this wedding is going to be interesting, Tochi said, adjusting his jeans. That evening, after they dropped their bags and ate yam porridge, one of the elders called all the young men, especially the visitors, and gathered them under a large mango tree. Obina whispered, This happens at every wedding. It's part of the village rules. Tochi smirked and folded his arms. The elder, an old man with a grey beard and deep voice, stood up. Listen carefully, all of you. We welcome you to Umuzala with love and respect, but we also protect you with the truth. This village is not like the city. We live in harmony with the land. And when the sun goes down, not everything that walks is alive. The boys murmured. The elder raised his hand. If you see anyone walking alone at night, young or old, man or woman, do not greet them. Keep your eyes down. Keep your mouth shut. Greet them in the morning, if they are still around. Tochi chuckled. Is this some kind of Nollywood script? The elder looked straight at him. This is a warning, not a movie. Boys like you have laughed before. One never woke up. One went mad. The last one, we only found his phone, not his body. The group went silent. Obina whispered, Please take it seriously. Tochi didn't respond. That night, around 10:40 p.m., after the lights had gone off and the village had fallen into rest, Tochi felt the call of nature. He had eaten too much. He tossed and turned in his wrapper. The urge kept growing. He whispered to Obina, Hey, where's the toilet? Obina groaned sleepily. Back of the compound, that small zinc latrine. Tochi grabbed a flashlight and walked outside, yawning. The village was darker than anywhere he'd ever been. The moon was hidden. The air was perfectly still. He walked carefully through the backyard, passing the firewood kitchen and banana trees. Then he saw the latrine. Who built this thing like a coffin? He muttered. He laughed at himself and stepped inside. As he stepped out, relieved, he saw her. An old woman, walking slowly across the back of the compound, heading toward the path beside the cassava barn. She wore a white wrapper, no slippers. Her back was slightly bent. She moved slowly. Tochi's heart jumped. He remembered the warning, but he laughed nervously. I don't believe in village ghost stories. She looks like someone's grandma. I can't just walk past without greeting her. What's the worst that could happen? He took a small step forward. Good evening, ma, he said gently. The old woman stopped, still facing away from him. Tochi blinked. I said good evening, ma, he said louder. Slowly, very slowly, she turned her head. Not her body, just her head. And what Tochi saw made him drop his flashlight. Her face was not fully there. One eye, one cheek, The other side was just darkness like burnt charcoal. Tochi froze. The old woman's lips didn't move, but a whisper cold, cracked, and dry entered his ear. You shouldn't have done that. Then she disappeared. Right there. Gone. Tochi stumbled backward, shaking. What? He looked around. No footsteps. No sound. No movement. Only silence. Then, far behind him, he heard soft footsteps coming closer. Tochi ran. He didn't look back. He couldn't remember how his feet moved or how he reached the house. But somehow, he burst into the room where Obina lay, snoring, and slammed the door behind him. Obina sat up, alarmed. What happened? Why are you sweating like a goat? Obina asked, sitting up. Tochi laughed nervously. It was a dog, he said, wiping his forehead. A big dog almost chased me. I ran before it could reach me. He lied. He didn't tell Obina what he saw. Obina stood up immediately. A dog? In this village? Are you sure someone didn't send it? I don't know, Tochi said quickly, voice shaking. But I'm fine. Just, please, I'm begging you. Don't go outside again tonight. This isn't the city. You can't just walk around freely, Obina said. Tochi collapsed onto the mat, breathing heavily from the shock of what he had just experienced. The night didn't end there. At exactly 1 a.m., Tochi's eyes snapped open. Knock, knock, knock. 3 knocks. Slow, measured, right at the door. He sat up sharply. Obina was still asleep. Obina, he whispered. No response. Knock, knock, knock. This time louder. Tochi tiptoed to the door, heart pounding. He bent down slightly and peeped through the tiny crack by the hinge. No one was there, just the dark corridor and a thin line of moonlight outside. He turned to lie back down. Maybe it was his imagination. Then he heard a voice, a soft, dry whisper from outside, calling his name.
Tochi, Tochi.
He covered his ears. This is not real. This is not real. This is not real. He didn't sleep again that night. By morning, the wedding compound was alive with celebration. Drums beat. Women danced. Guests from nearby villages arrived. But Tochi sat quietly under a tree, pale, sweating, lost in thought. His hands trembled slightly as he held a small gourd of palm wine untouched. Obina, already dressed in crisp isiagu and red cap, was laughing with other cousins, teasing bridesmaids, and helping with final decorations. But Tochi heard none of it. He kept thinking about the woman, the knock, the whisper. He never told anyone, not even Obina. It was just my imagination, he muttered to himself. The elder's story got into my head. As the traditional rites began, villagers gathered under canopies. A long line of elders stood waiting to bless the couple. The bride's family danced in with gifts. Bags of rice, yams, crates of malt, a goat dressed in beads. Obina leaned toward Tochi and whispered, Guy, stand up. People are watching you. Tochi blinked. What? You look like someone who just came back from the grave. Get up, smile, dance small. This is not a funeral. He stood up and forced himself to dance, pretending nothing had happened. After the wedding, they returned to the city. But something happened on the way. Tochi looked into the car's rearview mirror, and she was sitting in the back seat, smiling. Same one eye, same one cheek. Tochi screamed, Blood of Jesus! Blood of Jesus! What is it, Tochi? Are you okay? Obina asked. Tochi looked again. She was gone. I'm just tired, he said, clutching his hands tightly. He didn't speak for the rest of the journey home. That night in Port Harcourt, Tochi couldn't sleep. His room felt colder than usual. The ceiling fan made a strange creaking sound. He locked his doors. closed all the curtains, even placed his Bible beside his pillow. But the moment he closed his eyes, he saw her, that same white wrapper, that same missing cheek, that same black eye, smiling into his soul. He woke up screaming. It became a pattern. Every night at 1 a.m., he would hear 3 knocks and then the whisper, Tochi. He stopped going to work, stopped eating. His mother thought he was depressed. His friends suggested deliverance. He just sat in his room, rocking slightly on the edge of his mattress, repeating the same words. This is not real. This is not real. This is not real. But it was real. But how do you explain that a simple greeting opened the door to something not from this world? One day, Obina came to visit. Guy, this isn't funny anymore. What's wrong with you? Since we returned from the village, you've been acting weird. Tochi opened his mouth, but no words came out. Obina stepped closer. Tochi, talk to me. I'm your friend. Open up. No matter how ugly it is, you're scaring me. I'm scared, Tochi whispered. Scared of what? Who? Obina asked. Finally, Tochi started to speak. Obina, I saw an old woman that night in the village, and I greeted her. She turned around. Her face wasn't complete. Then she disappeared. Obina's face dropped. You greeted her? Tochi nodded, pacing the room. Immediately, Obina began to pray. Blood of Jesus. I told you. The elder warned you. Why would you greet her? I don't know. She looked like someone's grandmother. Tochi cried. Obina stared at him, wide-eyed. Tochi, in that village, once it's dark, nothing is what it seems. That woman, her name is Ogwoma. She died over 40 years ago. She drowned during her only son's wedding. Her spirit still walks during weddings, searching for the son she never saw get married. Tochi collapsed onto the floor, breathing heavily. Why didn't you tell me this before? Obina lowered his voice. Because the more people talk about her, the stronger she gets. That's what the elders say. What should I do now? Tochi said. She's tormenting me. I see her everywhere. Obina leaned in. I think we need to go back to the village, to the elder, before she takes everything from you. No way. I'm not going back to that cursed place. Do you want to die? Obina replied. You're not even yourself anymore. Look at you. There was a long silence. Then slowly Tochi nodded. The next morning, they boarded a bus heading back to Umuzala. The sky was overcast. The road felt longer. Tochi didn't speak during the entire journey. He kept looking out the window, watching the trees bend as if they were whispering to each other. When they finally arrived, the village looked peaceful. The village looked the same. Children playing, smoke from cooking fires, leftover wedding decorations still hanging, faded and dry. They went straight to the elder. Tochi explained everything: the greeting, the whisper, the woman in the mirror, the nightly torment. The elder nodded slowly. You didn't believe, he said. Now she follows you. Tochi knelt. Please, sir. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I just greeted her. I didn't mean any harm. The elder stood up. There's only one way. He called for Mama Jideka, an old herbal woman with white eyes, red beads, and a staff made from Iroko wood. They led Tochi into a sacred forest called Ndu, the root of life. There they gave him a white wrapper, rubbed his face with palm oil, and placed a snail in his hand. You must sleep here tonight, Mama Njideka said. In the forest, Obina repeated. Yes, the elder said. He will wear white. He will be rubbed with oil. He will hold a snail in his hand. What happens if she comes again? Tochi asked. Do not speak. Do not move. Do not scream. Just drop the snail and close your eyes. Let the earth answer her. Obina looked at his friend. Can you do this? Tochi nodded barely. But He had no choice. That night, just before sunset, they led him into the woods. The trees closed in above them. The wind stopped. Not even birds sang. They reached a clearing, a circle of earth, surrounded by roots and stone. Tochi removed his shirt. Mama Njideka wrapped a white cloth around his waist and shoulder. She rubbed palm oil on his forehead and chest. Then, she placed a single live snail in his palm. It crawled slowly across his hand, its shell wet and heavy. She said nothing more. Then they all turned and left. That night was the longest of his life. The white wrapper Mama Njideka tied around him clung to his skin. Sweat rolled down his back despite the cold. He could still hear her voice before she left. If she comes again, don't speak. Don't open your eyes. Drop the snail. Let the earth answer. He kept replaying those words in his head again and again. He tried to stay awake. He tried to breathe. But the forest felt like it was tightening around him, like the trees were leaning in to listen. No crickets, no wind. Then at exactly 1 a.m., knock, knock, knock. Not on a door, on his chest. As if an invisible hand pressed against his heart. Tochi held his breath. He didn't move. His eyes stayed shut. Then came the whisper, dry, cold, and breathless. Tochi. He felt a cold presence above him. He couldn't open his eyes. Couldn't move. Couldn't pray. Then she spoke again. But this time it was not just his name. Why did you call me? Tochi wanted to cry. He wanted to scream, but he stayed still. I was forgotten. They left me in the river. But you greeted me. He felt something cold brush his face. Her hand, her fingers, or what was left of them trailing down his cheek, like wind made of bone. Look at me. Tochi's jaw clenched. Call me again. Still, he didn't move. She screamed suddenly high and sharp like a knife dragging across a chalkboard. Birds flew from the treetops. Leaves spun wildly. The forest shuddered. His fingers trembled and he dropped the snail. The moment it touched the earth, the ground shook. A bright wind exploded from the soil like a storm from below. The roots around the clearing twisted. Trees bent backward. The ghost shrieked a terrible ancient sound as she began to fade. I was not finished. He never married. You opened the door. Then silence. Total silence. When Tochi woke up, it was morning. The sun was shining. Birds were chirping. He was alive. He returned to the village. The elder nodded, satisfied. You have done well, he said. Now go, and never greet what walks at night. By evening, he was back on the road to Port Harcourt. Obinna stayed silent most of the ride, watching his friend from time to time. Tochi no longer looked afraid, just quiet, changed, like someone who had seen a part of the world no one else could see. The nightmare stopped. The knocking ended. The whisper faded. But he was never the same. He no longer cracked jokes at elders. He no longer scoffed at village rules. And he never ever greeted anyone after sunset. Months later, Tochi was walking home late from a dinner meeting in Port Harcourt. The streets were quiet. The night air was calm. Then, behind him, footsteps. Slow, bereful, slow, barefoot, dragging. He kept walking. The footsteps followed. He did not turn. He did not speak. He just walked and disappeared into the night. Not every face deserves a greeting. Not every voice should be answered. And not everything that walks at night is alive.